What if I told you that a single breakthrough at sea could topple entire empires overnight? From the ramming galleys of the ancient world to the unstoppable nuclear-powered fleets of today, naval warfare has shaped the rise and fall of global powers. In this video, we'll uncover the extraordinary evolution of war at sea and reveal how each new innovation changed the course of history forever. Throughout history, the seas have been both a barrier and a bridge, offering opportunity for exploration, trade, and conquest. From the wooden triremes of ancient empires to today's nuclear-powered carriers, naval warfare has been a driving force behind the rise and fall of global powers. Control of the oceans meant control of vital trade routes and strategic choke points, often deciding who prospered and who fell into obscurity. In this video, we'll embark on a journey across centuries to see how evolving technologies, tactics, and political ambitions shaped the face of maritime conflict. Join me as we dive into the extraordinary story of naval warfare and discover how innovations at sea have repeatedly changed the fate of nations. One of the greatest tests any navy has ever faced is deciding when and how to embrace change. From ancient times onward, maritime forces constantly struggled to adapt to emerging technologies and shifting doctrines. Take the early Mediterranean powers, for instance. Greek and Roman fleets relied heavily on rowers for propulsion and ramming tactics, but sudden changes like the invention of more effective sails or stronger ship designs could tilt the balance of power almost overnight. As centuries passed and empires expanded, the challenge only grew. The age of sail brought new shipbuilding techniques and powerful artillery, but these advances demanded immense resources and highly skilled crews. Navies had to figure out how to train gunners to operate massive cannons effectively, how to source reliable timber for ever larger hulls, and how to coordinate fleets spread out across vast oceans. Missing just one critical innovation, like faster-firing guns or improved navigation tools, could leave a nation vulnerable to rivals that were quicker to adapt. Then came the Industrial Revolution, which completely upended centuries-old naval traditions. Suddenly, coal-fired steam engines replaced the winds as a primary means of propulsion, drastically altering tactics and logistical needs. Ironclads and steel warships rendered wooden fleets obsolete in a matter of decades. These mechanical marvels were also incredibly expensive to design and maintain, forcing governments to weigh the financial burdens of modernization against the risk of falling behind. Naval leaders had to rethink everything from ship armor and firepower to the global supply chains that kept coal bunkers filled. With the arrival of the 20th century and the world wars, the stakes grew even higher. The British launch of HMS Dreadnought in 1906 sparked an arms race where a single breakthrough in armor or gun technology could determine naval supremacy. And later, aircraft carriers and submarines introduced unprecedented strategic challenges. How do you defend against attacks from the air or from beneath the waves? Traditional battleship admirals were hesitant to give up centuries of naval doctrine, yet those who failed to adapt risked catastrophic defeat, as seen in pivotal conflicts like the Battle of Midway. Even into the modern era, navies continue to grapple with the rapid pace of technological progress. Nuclear propulsion, advanced missile systems, stealth designs, and now unmanned drones all bring new possibilities and new vulnerabilities. Cyber warfare and satellite surveillance mean that secrecy and secure communications are just as crucial as hull thickness or engine power. The cost of staying on the cutting edge can be enormous, and yet the cost of falling behind can be even greater. Throughout history, this tug-of-war between tradition and innovation has been the driving force behind naval evolution. Every new ship design, every new weapon system, and every new doctrine challenges established norms, forcing naval powers to adapt or risk losing control of the seas. In many ways, it's a story of survival. Those who are ready to embrace the next leap in technology often shape the future of maritime conflict, while those who hesitate can quickly find themselves in troubled waters. Throughout the 19th and 20th centuries, one breakthrough after another dramatically changed the way wars were fought at sea. Perhaps the most pivotal shift came with steam power. Instead of relying on sails and wind, coal-fired engines empowered ships to move independently of the weather, a game-changer in both speed and maneuverability. This new technology also demanded new tactics. No longer were fleets at the mercy of the winds, and blockades became more efficient and strategic. During the American Civil War, ironclad ships like the USS Monitor and the CSS Virginia proved that heavily armored, steam-powered vessels could dominate over traditional wooden warships. Not long after, the submarine quietly emerged as a stealthy predator beneath the waves. While early subs in the late 19th century were primitive and risky, by World War I, Germany's U-boats had already demonstrated the devastating potential of underwater warfare, striking at merchant convoys and naval fleets. In World War II, submarine technology advanced even further. Longer ranges, improved torpedoes, and better underwater endurance made them a cornerstone of naval strategy. But it was in the Cold War era that subs truly came into their own. Nuclear propulsion allowed them to stay submerged for months, armed with ballistic missiles capable of reaching targets on the other side of the globe. These silent giants introduced an entirely new strategic dimension, shifting naval focus towards stealth, deterrence, and global reach. As we moved deeper into the 20th century, missile technology became the next revolutionary leap. Early guided missiles were rudimentary, but they quickly evolved into sophisticated systems capable of striking with pinpoint accuracy. Surface-to-air missiles challenged the supremacy of conventional air power, while anti-ship missiles put even the mightiest battleships at risk. Then came cruise missiles, capable of low-altitude flight and evasive maneuvers, making them harder to detect and intercept. This escalation in missile sophistication meant navies around the world had to develop advanced detection and defense systems, like the Aegis combat system in the US Navy, to protect their fleets. Each of these developments, steam power, submarines, and missiles, did more than just change ship design or combat tactics. They also reconfigured global alliances and rivalries, prompting nations to race for the next technological advantage. Together, they define the core of modern naval power, illustrating how a single innovation can rewrite the rules of warfare at sea. And as we look toward the future, where artificial intelligence, hypersonic weapons, and unmanned systems are on the rise, it's clear that naval warfare will continue to evolve just as dramatically as it has in the past. If there's a single era that truly showcased the power and potential of modern naval warfare, it has to be World War II. Consider the Battle of Midway, often described as the turning point in the Pacific theater. In June of 1942, just 6 months after Pearl Harbor, the United States cracked Japanese communication codes, allowing them to anticipate an attack on Midway Atoll. By launching a surprise counterattack, American carrier-based dive bombers dealt a crippling blow to the Japanese fleet. 4 Japanese aircraft carriers, vessels that had once seemed unstoppable, were sunk in a matter of hours. Suddenly, the once dominant Imperial Japanese Navy found itself on the defensive. Midway was more than a tactical victory. It was a watershed moment in naval history, proving that the aircraft carrier, not the battleship, was the new king of the seas. Carriers could project power across vast distances, striking enemy targets before they could even see the attacking ships. This shift in naval doctrine underscored a hard truth. Adaptation was essential. Admirals worldwide had to rethink decades of battleship-centric strategy and embrace carrier warfare, or risk obsolescence. Fast forward to the Cold War, and the dynamic changes yet again. This time, the spotlight turned to submarines and nuclear-armed missile systems. The American and Soviet navies engaged in a high-stakes game of cat-and-mouse beneath the world's oceans, each side deploying nuclear-powered submarines armed with ballistic missiles. These subs, silent, stealthy, and virtually undetectable, could remain submerged for months, hidden from prying eyes. One launch order could unleash devastation on a global scale. This constant, uneasy tension became known as mutually assured destruction, MAD, where neither side dared to attack first for fear of guaranteed retaliation. In both World War II and the Cold War, we see how a single breakthrough or strategic masterstroke can instantly reshape the balance of power at sea. Whether it's the moment bombs rain down on an unsuspecting carrier fleet, or the silent threat of a submarine lurking beneath the waves, These pivotal events forced nations to confront the stark realities of modern warfare and to innovate or perish. Even today, the lessons learned from Midway and the silent standoffs of the Cold War inform how navies operate, plan, and prepare for whatever the next maritime battleground may hold. From the oar-driven galleys of the ancient world to today's stealth destroyers, naval warfare has undergone constant transformation. Each breakthrough, be it the adoption of steam power, the rise of submarines, or the dominance of aircraft carriers, rewrote the rules of conflict at sea. And while technology has propelled us from wooden decks to nuclear propulsion, one thing remains the same. Control of the seas still shapes global power. Whether it's securing trade routes, projecting military might, or deterring rivals with advanced missile systems, navies continue to play a critical role in modern defense strategies. As we look to the future, where unmanned vessels, AI, and hypersonic weapons promise even more dramatic changes, one lesson stands out above all others. The side that adapts the fastest will chart the course of naval supremacy for the decades ahead. Now that we've explored the incredible evolution of naval warfare, I'd love to hear from you. What's your favorite naval battle in history and why? Let me know in the comments below. I read every one. And if you're hungry for more military innovations, check out my video on Insert Your Related Topic here. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this interesting, and I'll catch you in the next video.